Begin Self-Publishing, episode number 91. Smashwords with Mark Coker.
Interested in self-publishing but don't know where to start? Want to get your book onto Amazon? Want to hold your paperback book in your hands? Learn how on the Begin Self-Publishing podcast with your host, Tim Lewis.
So finally, I'm at the end of my long tour of the eBook aggregator companies. I wasn't really necessarily intending to interview all 5 of them for this series. In fact, I've found a few other ones that I've heard of since, but we're limited to these 5 for now. Now, in some ways, the most well-known and longest running of the big eBook aggregator companies is Smashwords. And on today's show, I interview Mark Coker, who is the founder of Smashwords. If nothing else, he strikes me as a tremendously nice guy with great ambitions and desires for indie authors. And for that, he deserves a lot of credit. But how does Smashwords rank up to all the other services? I put this to him in this interview. Hi, Mark. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Tim. Great to be here.
My understanding is that Smashwords is basically the longest established ebook aggregator. Is that true? And how did you kind of end up starting Smashwords?
Well, I don't know if we're the longest established, but we probably were first to market as an ebook aggregator focused on self-published authors and small independent presses. So the story of Smashwords really started about 12 years ago. My wife is a former reporter for a soap opera magazine here in the United States called Soap Opera Weekly. And when I met her, she was telling me these incredible stories of how the soap opera actors that she had to interview were more over-the-top crazy than the soap opera storylines themselves. And I suggested she should write a book about her experiences, and she said, well, why don't we write a book together? And I thought, well, what the heck? You know, I'd always dreamed of writing a book. I had never dreamed of writing a book about soap operas, but I thought, you know, this would be really fun. And so we wrote a book together. We wrote a novel together. That novel is Boob Tube. And we finished the book about 10, 11 years ago. And we went through the experience that I think every first-time author experiences. You know, that first draft that you finish, you think it's brilliant and it's perfect. And then you come to learn that it's absolutely horrible and it needs a lot of editing and revision. And that's what we did. Finally, we got our book into shape. We shopped it around to literary agents. We got represented by one of the top literary agencies in New York, Distel and Goderich. And for 2 more years, they tried to sell the book to all the major publishers of commercial women's fiction in New York. And they got nothing but rejection. And the common thread of feedback from the publishers was that previous soap opera-themed books hadn't sold well on the market, so they were reluctant to take a chance on the book. And it was that experience that really opened my eyes to what I considered a horrible problem, a problem that didn't just affect our dreams and aspirations, but could potentially affect book culture and the future of books. And it's important to understand that traditional publishers aren't necessarily in the business of selling books. They're in the they're in the business of selling books, not necessarily publishing books. So the publishing is kind of the means to the ends of selling books. If they don't think your book has commercial potential, they're reluctant to take a chance on it. And my view then, as it is now, is that you can't judge the value of a book by commercial merit alone. There are many great books out there that will never have strong commercial potential, yet these books have the potential to touch the souls of readers, to change readers' lives, to contribute to greater cross-cultural understanding and contribute to greater knowledge in the world. And, you know, all these great things for which books are this magical vehicle. And so I thought, well, obviously the problem that publishers face, the challenge they face, is that they're unable to invest in every single book and every single author. And so I got this crazy idea. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if someone out there could make it possible for any writer anywhere in the world to self-publish a book, and to self-publish a book at no cost, so that every writer could publish a book and then let the readers decide which books were worth reading. So let the readers become the gatekeepers. And, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that the way to do that was with digital books, with ebooks. And then I thought, well, I could do this. What if I created a free ebook publishing platform to make it fast and easy for any writer anywhere in the world to publish a book? What a platform that would allow me to say yes to every author in the world and allow me to invest in every author and then let the marketplace decide what they wanted to read. And so that was the genesis of Smashwords. So I started working on the Smashwords business plan probably around 2005. By 2008, we launched it publicly. And the initial idea was just to make it possible for someone to upload a Microsoft Word document. We created the conversion technology so that we could convert that into multiple ebook formats so that the book could be read on a Kindle, any kind of digital device. So we output in Mobi format, PDF, EPUB, a whole bunch of different formats. And so that was the general idea of the original Smashwords. And we created a store so that our authors could sell their books to the public. So that was 2008. By the end of 2008, we were publishing about 90 different authors. And on a good day, we were selling about $10 worth of books in our little store. And keep in mind that our commission is really low. It's only about 10% of the retail price. So we're raking in a full whopping $1 a day in income, yet this business was costing me over $10,000 a month, and I was the only investor in this business. And through some discussions with some of our authors and publishers, I finally came to the realization that no one had ever heard of Smashwords. We weren't a large bookstore. Readers go to stores to buy books. And so I thought, okay, we need to get our books into stores, the large stores, where readers are going to find their books. And so I opened up discussions with some of the major ebook retailers at that time, Barnes & Noble and Sony. They were the first two that I spoke with. And to my surprise, both of them wanted all of our books. And so it was in early 2009 that we got this crazy idea to become an ebook distributor. Now, in 2009, I was very aware of Ingram, the world's largest book distributor, and I was aware that they were distributing ebooks, but that they were distributing the ebooks of large traditional publishers, and they didn't really have a good offering for self-published authors. So I thought, well, maybe there's an opportunity for us to become the Ingram of ebook self-publishing. And so that was like the second crazy idea. And I remember when I shared this idea with my staff, which was just my one employee, I laughed. I thought, this was crazy. We didn't know anything about distribution, but there was this opportunity, and we decided to go for it. And that changed everything for us. Once we got our books into the stores, our books started selling, and we started growing our business. So Smashwords wasn't the first ebook aggregator, but we were probably the first to focus exclusively on self-published books. And then later we expanded that beyond just self-published books, but also to support the needs of small independent presses. There's thousands of small independent presses out there that face the same publishing challenges and same distribution challenges that the independent authors face. So that's the background on how we got started.
Okay, so presumably you're making more than $10 a month at the moment then?
Yes.
Okay, so obviously, as I discussed in the pre-chat, you're the fifth of the ebook aggregators that I've interviewed recently on this show.
Well, yes. Thank you, Tim, for your unusual fascination with ebook aggregators.
Well, it's one of those, it's a completionist thing. I started off with one, and then I thought it was only fair to have some other ones on, and then it's like, well, I might as well have everybody on. Yeah, well, I'm honored that you chose to speak with us. What would you say to people who say, well, there's all these other ebook aggregators out now, are new ones and based in different places, and maybe go to slightly different stores or have lower sort of rates. What is unique about Smashwords that the other ebook aggregators don't offer? Or what would you say is your sort of unique selling point, so to speak?
Well, that's a really difficult question because the truth of the matter is I don't spend very much time thinking about our competitors. In the last 9 years that we've been in business now, I have seen dozens, if not hundreds of companies come and go and, trying to do what we're doing. This is a very difficult business to operate, difficult business to stay in business. Margins are low, a lot of competition. And, I've always, throughout my business career, my attitude has always been, you've got to look forward, not backward. So I don't spend a lot of time thinking about our competitors, but I do spend a lot of time thinking about and listening to our authors. What do our authors want from us? So when someone asks me, why should I work with Smashwords? Well, Smashwords was first to market with an ebook aggregation service. We think we are one of the most author-friendly services out there. Our ethos is all about serving authors, leveling the playing field, giving small independent presses and self-published authors the tools that they need to make their books more available and more discoverable and more desirable to readers. And everything about our business is, in my opinion, aligned with the best interests of authors. So there are a lot of services out there that can only stay in business by selling things to authors. Selling services, selling publishing packages, marketing packages, trailers, publicity services. And I decided very early on when I was working on the Smashwords business plan that we weren't going to do any of that. There were already a lot of vanity presses out there that were, in my view, exploiting authors. And I actually looked to the example of traditional publishers. So traditional publishers, when they're at their best, they invest in their authors and invest in their books. And the money only flows in one direction. It flows to the author. The author gets the advance. The author gets the royalty check. Authors of traditional publishers don't have to pay the publisher for the privilege of getting published. And so it was very important to me that we were going to build a business that was focused on helping authors and publishers sell books. We only make money if the books that we're distributing sell. So to support this effort, over the last 9 years, we have continuously created some really innovative tools that help level the playing field and provide authors professional grade tools that help them publish like a professional. So the way Smashwords works is you sign up for a free account. Everything's free. The confirmation email that we send you tells you what your next steps are to get your book published at Smashwords. The moment you create an account at Smashwords, we create an author profile page for you automatically. And then as soon as you upload a book to Smashwords, we create automatic book pages that are linked to your author page. And then around so it's like you've got your own personal store at Smashwords that you can control. You've got the ability to add your author bio, to upload videos, to do an author interview, tell readers the story behind the author. You can price your books at any price you want. We've got coupon features, so you can create custom coupon codes to promote your books. We've got widgets to help assist with your online marketing so that not just you, but your fans as well can share these little widgets on their websites, on their blogs, and help you promote your books. We've got an ever-increasing distribution network. We've got, I think, one of the broadest distribution networks out there for self-published authors. If you look at our history over the last 9 years, we have been the first to open up many major retailers and other sales outlets to self-published authors. We were the first to open up Barnes & Noble to self-published ebooks. We were the first to open up Sony to self-published ebooks. We were there on day one at the launch of the Apple iBook store with over 2,000 books in their store. And we've been one of their authorized global aggregators from day one. We've got great relationships with the retailers. We've done a lot of work to open up the library market. So we were one of the first aggregators to open up Overdrive, which is the world's largest library platform for ebooks. And in the years since, we've added Baker & Taylor Access 360, Odeo, Gardner's UK and their Ask, Use, and Holtz platform. We've added Biblioteca. So we've got great distribution to public libraries, and this is global distribution around the world. So we're very focused on building author-friendly tools that give you a competitive advantage in the marketplace, and focused on building out the distribution, because I've always believed that distribution is one of the critical success factors for an author. If you look back in the dark ages of publishing, so prior to 10 years ago, when publishing was a print-centric business controlled by large publishers, mostly in New York and London, in that old world, distribution was key. You had to work with a publisher to get your book into bookstores, because if you couldn't get your book into bookstores, you couldn't sell your book. Readers couldn't find it. And it was nearly impossible to keep your book in stores because there were too many books for the bookstores to carry in their physical stores, which meant that they constantly had to remove poor-selling inventory to make room for new books, which meant that many great books were forced out of print before they had a chance to find their audience. So with the advent of ebooks, it fundamentally changed the distribution landscape. Suddenly, it was possible for every major retailer to carry every single book, and books no longer had to go out of print. And so this opened up the opportunity for self-published authors to have their ebooks listed side by side with the books from the large traditional publishers. And once self-published authors achieved this distribution into the major stores, something magical happened. Their books started selling, because readers don't care if a book is self-published or traditionally published. Readers are going to judge the book based on the book's merits. Is this book worth reading or not? That's all that matters to the reader. Does this book bring me joy or not? So that's our focus in the market. Every single day, our engineering team is working to develop new tools, new systems, new opportunities for our authors. And we'll never stop doing that.
Okay, so one of the things that, it's not totally unique to Smashwords, but you require basically a Word document. I think you have got an option to accept an EPUB document, but what advantages is there for people for the fact that you do require that Word document? Why do you have that requirement?
Yeah, Tim, actually, we don't require a Word document. We can take your book either as a Microsoft Word document, or we can take your book as an EPUB file. We've been accepting directly uploaded EPUB files for, 3 or 4 years now. But true, we did start with Microsoft Word as the source document.
Okay. I mean, it was just I was reading the documentation on your website.
Yeah.
I think it still has the word sort of, this is a beta service around the EPUB thing, so it maybe just not been updated for a while or something along those lines.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think we might still have some of that old text lingering on the site. But, most of our authors choose to upload as a Microsoft Word document. There are a lot of advantages that come with that. Most authors are working with some word processor. Most word processors can output into the Microsoft Word format. And one of the great benefits of working with a word processor is that it makes it really easy for you to customize your book, to update your book. If you find a typo, fix it, upload the new version to Smashwords, and we'll get that new version out to everyone. It's a really easy way to publish. But, there are a lot of authors and publishers out there that would prefer, that have the technical capability to design their own EPUB files, or maybe they prefer to hire a professional designer to create their file, because there are things that you can do with a custom designed EPUB file that aren't very easy to do with a Microsoft Word file. So, we're generally agnostic. We will take your file however you bring it to us, whether it's an EPUB or a Microsoft Word document. I believe that the vast majority of authors, probably 90% of authors, are probably best served by starting with Microsoft Word. I see a lot of authors who think that if they go off and spend $500 or $1,000 to a professional ebook designer to design their EPUB, that somehow that's going to give them a tremendous competitive advantage in the marketplace. And that's not the case. The magic of your book is in the words, not some of the frilly bells and whistles that you can do. Like if we look at a novel and you look at what you can do with a custom designed EPUB that you can't do with Microsoft Word, one example is with a custom designed EPUB, you can do drop caps. Well, that's a really nice touch to add to your book, but it's not going to make or break the success of your book.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking more for people like me who use products like Scrivener, where it's fairly easy to produce an EPUB, but it's a lot harder to actually produce a Word document.
Yeah, so for folks like you who are using Scrivener, just output it as an EPUB, and we're happy to take that.
One of the reasons for asking this question was on your documentation. It said that you create sort of book summaries for the author pages, and that you couldn't do that from an EPUB. I don't know if that's correct.
Right. So I think I know what you're talking about. So when you upload as a Microsoft Word document, as you're uploading, we'll ask you what percentage of the book do you want to make available as a free sample. And when we get the Word document from you, we can turn that Word document into 6 or 7 different eBook file formats, as well as sample files for EPUB, MOBI, and I think PDF as well. So yeah, if you upload as Microsoft Word, you've got more flexibility, more options to connect with readers because we're able to output into the multiple formats. If you upload just an EPUB file to Smashwords, then you don't get the sampling in our store and you don't get the other formats.
Okay, so there is a reason for maybe some people to, if they've got the choice of Word or EPUB, then yeah, they should go for the Word option. Yeah,
I would recommend that. And we also allow you to do both. So let's say you want your book in as many different formats as possible. Upload your Microsoft Word document and we'll get it into all the different formats. And then if you also have your custom designed EPUB that has the drop caps and the fancy stuff, then you can also upload that to Smashwords and we will use that file instead of our generated file.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's a great option. A lot of authors don't really realize that, but you can get the best of both worlds that way if you do that.
Okay.
Oh, and I should probably clarify one other thing. Our business is ebook distribution. That's our primary business. That's where 95% of our sales come from. We are unusual in the sense that we also operate our own store. Our store is kind of a vestige of, that first year of business in 2008 when we weren't even thinking of becoming a distributor.
You were thinking you were going to be the Sony or Kindle or whatever, but you ended up distributing to all these other companies as well. Going back to the issue of distribution, are there any ebook stores that only Smashwords distributes to? I mean, I know you've got an awful lot of stores that you do go to.
I imagine they are. Because I don't spend a lot of time focused on our competitors, I can't tell you, who's where. I can't go, aggregator by aggregator who's where, but I'm not aware of any other aggregators that have as broad of a library distribution network as we do. I don't think most aggregators are distributing to Gardeners UK. That's certainly a channel that I think we opened up pretty early. We should probably talk a little bit about where we go, because that might not be immediately apparent. So when you upload your book to Smashwords, the process is that we will manually review your book. We'll make sure that your book meets the distribution requirements of our retailers and library partners. And then if it meets those requirements, we accept the book into what we call our premium catalog. And it's our premium catalog that we distribute out to the retailers. So once we start distributing your book, it can go to Apple iBooks, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Scribd, Gardeners UK, which operates both retail platforms and library platforms. It can go to Overdrive, Baker & Taylor, I mentioned earlier. You can reach a lot of different sales channels with a single upload.
Yeah, and you can choose which stores. Say if you say went for a different aggregator for some of the stores, you could choose not to go to them via Smashwords. Is that correct?
Certainly. So you control your distribution at Smashwords from your Smashwords dashboard. So from your dashboard, you click on a link to your channel manager, and you can opt in and opt out of different channels.
Can you go to Amazon through Smashwords?
Well, if you didn't know the answer, I wouldn't blame you. We don't advertise distribution to Amazon, although we do distribute about 200 books there. So we only do it on special request, and typically only for authors who've shown a good track record of sales.
Okay, is there any particular reason for that? Is that you think they should be using the KDP interface, or is it some contractual issue?
Well, there is a reason for it. Amazon is not terribly friendly to aggregators. I don't want to go down too much of a rat hole with this, but we only work with retailers that offer our authors agency terms. This is what allows us to pay our authors 60% of the list price as their royalty. A lot of other aggregators can't match those rates because they haven't negotiated the same agreements that we've negotiated. Amazon is not a believer in agency pricing, doesn't like to give the author or publisher the power to price their own books, and as a result, Amazon is unwilling to accept all of our books as all the other major retailers do. You know, we're publishing over 400,000 books from over 100,000 different authors, and because of the volume of our titles and because our titles are so dynamic, you know, we allow our authors to change anything about their titles, change the prices, change the covers, change the descriptions, and then we take all of this chaotic, ever-changing metadata and then pump it back out to the retailers. The only way that our business is possible, given this volume of titles, is for us to work with the retailers in partnership to create these highly automated integrations between us and the retailers. So Amazon gave us the option to do an integration with them, but only under the wholesale terms. So that would be, you know, where they're paying us whatever 50% of the list price, but they didn't give us the ability to do agency pricing. So what Amazon proposed to us, and we agreed to it, is that they were going to create a bulk ingestion system that would allow us to pump our books into KDP, but they never delivered on that. So as a result, if we distribute books to Amazon, we distribute them to the same way that you would as a self-published author. We manually upload them into KDP. That's why we have to be selective about the number of titles that we upload to them. Now, you know, I don't know if Amazon's ever going to come around. We would love to make our books all of our books available to Amazon. I know we have tens of thousands of authors who would prefer to consolidate their distribution with us as opposed to having to upload directly to Amazon. But that's the way Amazon is. It's their store. They get to decide how things are run. You know, in the meantime, we recommend that all authors should have their books at Amazon, upload them directly. We just recommend that you don't enroll them in KDP Select, which is the exclusive option at Amazon.
Okay, so you've mentioned a bit about this before, but what marketing options do you provide for authors as part of the package of when they upload a book to Smashwords?
Well, the moment your book is uploaded to Smashwords, we generate that selling page for you in the Smashwords store. So your book is instantly visible to the millions of readers who are coming to the Smashwords store looking to purchase books. We offer the Smashwords coupon feature, which I mentioned. That allows you to create custom coupon codes so that you can, you know, offer your book for free or at a discount to readers, to bloggers. We offer this cool tool called Smashwords Interviews, where you can create your own custom interview. You basically self-interview yourself and can share, you know, the story behind the author. This is a unique feature. I don't think anyone in the industry has anything like it. And even our coupon feature is still fairly unique in the market. I don't know of anyone else who's doing anything like we're doing with coupons, and we continue to update these features. We also do a lot of work with the merchandising teams at the major retailers. Every single week, we are in communication with the merchandising teams at the major retailers, so Apple, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and recommending titles to them that they should consider for extra promotion within their stores. So every week, dozens of our books are getting recommended and often promoted within these stores. And that, it's a benefit of using Smashwords that we don't typically talk about, because our merchandising recommendations are based on merit. And we measure merit based on the author's or book's performance across our distribution network. So if you've been working with Smashwords and you've got a good track record, your last book sold really well, then the moment you upload your new book, we're going to start promoting it to the retailers if you're one of our top sellers. even if that book isn't for sale yet. So even if your book is just on pre-order, if your book's on pre-order and you've got a strong track record, we're going to be promoting that book to the retailers. That's a benefit that many authors aren't necessarily going to get if they just upload directly to a retailer or possibly if they use one of the other aggregators. I can't comment on the merchandising efforts of the other aggregators, and I'm sure when the other aggregators listen to this interview, they'll all think, oh, what are we doing on merchandising? Maybe we need to do more. But, these are the types of things that we're always focused on. How can we give our authors a competitive advantage in the marketplace so that their books can be more visible to readers?
Okay, so you're probably on the path to developing new features or adding new stores. What have you got coming up people can look forward to in terms of new things coming in the world of Smashwords in the next couple of years?
Well, we did a lot of really cool things in 2016. We've got more cool things planned for 2017. One of the most immediate things that I'm most excited about here is that starting in February, we're going to start paying authors monthly. Prior to this, we paid quarterly. And we're also eliminating the payment threshold for PayPal. So previously, we had to earn $10 to get paid to trigger a payment. We're eliminating that threshold. So if we owe you a penny, we're going to pay you a penny, and we're going to pay you monthly. So I know a lot of authors are really excited about this. This has been one of the most requested features over the last few years, that we pay more frequently. So we're going to do that. In 2017, you're going to see more enhancements to our coupon system. We think there's a lot of really neat things that we can do with that. As you saw in 2016, some of the enhancements that we made was making it easier for your coupons to be promoted on the Smashwords website. Previously, coupons were private, so they would only be seen by readers if the author put that coupon in front of the reader. But now those coupons can be promoted directly on the Smashwords website, so if a customer is browsing the Smashwords store, they can see that your book is available and it's on sale with this coupon code. In 2016, we introduced time-limited, what we call metered coupons. So you can create a coupon and say, all right, this coupon, my dear readers, is only available to the first 500 people who redeem it, or the first 10 people, or first 20 people. So that was a cool feature. We're going to be doing more things around coupons in 2017. On the distribution front, you're going to see us selectively add more retailers. So you and I are talking here in early February. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to announce a new distribution deal with Biblioteca, which is a library aggregator, reaches over 3,000 public libraries, mostly in North America. So we're about ready to announce that. And by the time this podcast appears, it will have already been announced. We'll have some other distribution announcements to announce later in the year. We're working on systems to give our authors more granular control over pricing in different markets and different currencies. We've done a little bit there, kind of behind the scenes. We're supporting a lot of authors behind the scenes with that, but we're going to add more features to make that easier to do and more intuitive. Generally, our enhancements fall within different themes. We're always looking to make our site easier to use, to make our tools easier to use, more accessible. We're always working to build out the distribution network. That's critical to the success of our authors. And we're always working to develop, new tools that help them do things that they can't do anywhere else.
I think we've had quite a long conversation about Smashwords. How can people find out about you and Smashwords and anything that you've got coming up or going on in the future?
Well, I would encourage anyone who's listening to sign up for an account at Smashwords. Odds are that even if you're working with another distributor, you're probably not reaching as many sales channels as we're reaching, and certainly you're not reaching the customers in our small Smashwords store. So I'd encourage you to sign up for an account at www.smashwords.com. Check out the Smashwords blog. We've got really a great archive of blog posts over the last 5, 6, 7 years that I've done. We've got author interviews on there, a lot of best practices information. I would encourage people to read some of the books that I've written on ebook publishing. I've written 3 books on ebook publishing best practices. There's the Secrets to Ebook Publishing Success, where I identify over 30 best practice secrets of the best-selling authors, and this book is priced at free. There's the Smashwords Book Marketing Guide. Even if you're only publishing in print, the Smashwords Book Marketing Guide has about 40 or 50 free book marketing ideas to get your books out there, to sell your books more effectively, and a lot of great ideas of how to get the most use out of Smashwords. But you don't need to be a Smashwords author to benefit from that book. And then, of course, there's the Smashwords Style Guide, which teaches you how to format your own book for free.
Okay.
A lot of authors read the Style Guide, even authors that don't use us, because it teaches you how to professionally design a reflowable ebook.
Yeah, which I think is something that some people go wrong with when they think that the EPUB is the same as the PDF, when it isn't really.
Right.
Anyway, it was great to talk to you today, Mark. So thank you very much for coming on the show.
My pleasure, Tim.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please stop by iTunes and rate and leave a review. This helps make the show more visible. For free resources, show notes, and other helpful content, join the community at beginselfpublishing.com.